Hi folks, it's Matthew and I'm back with another video of Euro Truck Simulator 2. So in this video we're on my multiplayer profile, which I haven't actually played multiplayer on for a while now, properly. That is, probably since the server got hacked, I suppose. But anyway, this is using the Eastern Express map, which is absolutely massive, as you've probably seen before. And so in this video we're taking a gondola. Let me go show you what that is. But today I thought we'd just take a short-ish job in a standard default truck like this, because you know, a default truck like this, after you've been through so many other trucks, can actually be quite nice, really. Especially the Mag. It's a very nice quality truck, and having a red dashboard light mod installed. Sadly, there's no realistic sound mod you can get for it, but the sounds on this truck aren't too bad. There is, for the Iveco and the Renault Magnum, realistic sound mods that you can get, but I don't think there is about anything else. No, I don't. Well, yeah, the sound mod for the Scania, but I haven't found any sound mods that are actually realistic for this truck. So here it is. It's a gondola. It's going from Rostock to Graz. It is a very massive thing, so we got to be careful.
Hopefully JT's going to join us today. We're talking about how there may be some men left in a guy named Wilton up in Minnesota who seems to not like when somebody points out what they're doing is violent. We'll get to the latest irony. James Craig in New Hampshire. We are lucky enough.
So, as you know, I've only been doing one video a week at the moment, and that's mainly down to time and yeah, just time mainly, and it's only what I'll really be doing much when I'm not on break. Luckily, it's only a couple of weeks till I am on break, so you hopefully should get a couple more videos out eventually. But we'll have to see what happens. Obviously my goal would be to have 2 videos per week, but can't really do that at the moment, sadly. But 1 video a week is better than nothing, so I'm actually recording now with new graphic settings. Basically, I tried the AMD Evolved gaming app. I tried the optimized recommended settings, which is 50% scaling, low weather settings, and low texture, and it actually runs fairly well. I turned the texture up to high because that actually gives a nice balance, but yeah, it actually gets fairly stable FPS now. Like, sometimes I can actually reach 30 FPS now and stay at a stable rate, which is pretty nice. And I actually worked off how you can turn off the minicon information up there in the top left of the screen. Basically, obviously the command to turn on is G_minicon space 1. The command to turn it off would just be G_minicon space 0. And you can have it on or off. I have it on as I like to see FPS and know the video memory. I'll tell you what, and I bet you're wondering why that figure up there, VM, is always red. It's 2100/27. I don't know how much that is. I don't know if that is how much it's using. But my video card only has 512 megabytes of VRAM, and I'm assuming it's saying it needs 2184 for this area. There isn't any of it. So yes, it's coming down on FPS, but it's also meaning it can't load in certain objects and calculate certain commands, I think is what it means. But pretty much everyone I've seen with the developer console on, even with a decent video card, always says it's using way too much. Even if you had a graphics card with 2 gig of VRAM or 4 gig, it would still be in the red for some reason. So depending on your graphics settings, of course, but you can't not get it out of the red if not medium, pretty much. And it's entirely down to what power it's using. Let's say how much, because 512 VRAM is how much my graphics card has in total to use, and it uses it in sections for when it needs to load in. But actually running in 64-bit mode takes a strain off of it a bit, because it can actually load up the map with my memory now with 12 gigabit. 12 gigabytes of memory can load in pretty much most of this map, like the whole standard map, just not the other map bit. So as long as you're in this map bit, it doesn't actually have to use that much video memory. It just says how much is recommendedly needs to be used. It's not actually using any at the moment, it's just using the memory mainly to have the map loaded in, so it takes less strain off the video card, and that's the advantage of 64 bits, is being able to use more than 4 gig of memory. You can use all the memory it needs in your system, of course, to get to work.
But they're ineffectual losers who feel that life has given them the shaft. There, my friends, is your average prosecutor and traffic court judge. So please keep that in mind when you do go into court and you are prepping, that you are dealing with somebody who is you know, for all intents and purposes, is a loser. That's it. He's never getting out of the traffic court unless he puts a gun in his mouth and does the entire world a favor and kills himself. And maybe take a prosecutor out or two before he leaves. Maybe a cop.
And I'll tell you, if you watch a pattern of these videos with this radio podcast on, he talks a lot about being in court and whatever.
We have Kirby, who's going to be going in. He is prepping for such an event in the situation in the psychopathic circus. So welcome to the show, Kirby.
Thanks, Mark.
Wow,
I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you. And Kirby, let me just ask real quick, where are you actually calling from?
I live right on the state line of Washington and Idaho.
So see, it's got red lights instead of the standard blue ones, which I think looks decent.
Psychopath circus, is that going to be in Washington or Idaho?
Well, I have a circus going in each one, actually. It's been going on, one of them in Idaho since May.
And I will admit, I do need to update the video on OBS recording. That's the odd thing has changed. Generally, I need to make it a bit more clear, not just drone on about the same thing again and again. And the same with the streaming tutorial. Yeah, the streaming one is harder to do because I have to stream and record it, which means, yeah, it's fine for Twitch, but on YouTube it means that essentially it basically means, excuse me, it basically means that the quality of it is way down, and I would like it if I could actually just record and show you and preview it. The problem is I can't find, at the moment I can't really find a video recording software that's free that is actually working, that actually works. So if you do know one, do tell me. I mean, I was looking at SkyDrive on Steam, but that's £30, and I don't really want to pay £30 for something that I'm just going to use to record how to stream with, more than just like something else. Because when you look at OBS, that's free and that works perfectly fine. So really, why does SkyDrive cost £30? That's the thing. I mean, yeah, it had tons of features. But it had a ton of features more before it came to Steam. When it came to Steam, apparently, this is what I've heard, those features got taken away, but yet they still charge £30 for it. £30 just for video recording? Would you pay that much? Do you think that you're using something which you may get bored of or not work that great? Maybe it does work great, I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to pay £30 for something that I'm just going to use to record one video every once in a while when the thing about OBS changes and certain main features change. No, I'm not going to do that, am I?
Predators, they're cannibals.
I mean, yes, I got a dim drive, that's £26, but that actually helps somewhat. So, really, I like it.
And so they're predators. They're cannibalistic in nature. They have to feed off of productive. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. We're going to go through a number of
The only thing with dim drive is you have to have a decent amount of RAM. I mean, the recommended is 8 gig, and I'd say that's sort of the minimum you can go on is 8 gig. If you have 12 gigs, like me, that's decent. If you have 16, that's fine. Yeah, but anything 8 or above is good. But unless you have like 32 or a RAM dedicated motherboard, whatever you call it, it's a bit harder to. Well, it's quite hard to get a decent performance out of it. Because obviously the recommended size for it is 6 gigs. I just have 12, that'd be fine. I'd say it's 8, that works fine. Well, I'll just use OBS for it. I'll say it to 6. Now, some of you probably wondering, what the heck is dim drive? Well, dim drive is a RAM disk essentially. It's very similar to RAM disks that have come in the past, like AMD RAM disk and various others, but it's a lot more simple to set up. Quite literally, all you have to do, it automatically integrates with Steam. It detects your Steam games, and then all you gotta do is you gotta configure it, configure the size, drive letter, and then if the game's the right size, just click 2 clicks, and boom, it's on. Now, if the game's too big, you have to select what files you want to run fast, and you don't need all the files selected in the game. In some games, you only need, if it's a game with missions, for example like Skyrim, you only need particular files set for what mission you're doing. So you don't need the whole game set. So,
one was speed, and then he turned that also into a criminal because they like to stack that stuff up so they have all kinds of weapons. And
so from there, you can add various other apps like Firefox and Chrome and OBS, and just non-Steam games as well you can add. And you can add, if you find the exe file in the folder.
Failure to resisting arrest, which I thought
just open the folder, find that file, and it'll be fine. But I may do a video on dim drive at some point, but I don't know. It's a good one, whether it's worth doing a video or whether my viewers would really want it. So
people don't realize just how common that is. People can actually, people every day practically, I would say, are convicted of
the nice, beautiful morning sunshine in Germany at 7:05 in the morning.
And that was kind of the case here. First it said I didn't give him my driver's license, which I wasn't. Okay, this is the legal definition. Wasn't driving. That's what I've done most of my life for a living. But I was just traveling from the little town out here to where I live.
So we've got 336 miles left to get to Rus in Poland. And it's quite a nice planned truck. Listening to a very interesting radio show, to say the least.
And he could go that speed, but I could not. He was actually going faster than I was.
Well, you realize that police are higher up on the political cast.
All men are created equal. Some are just a little more equal than others, it seems.
We can't compare ourselves to the hometown heroes that are the police. So yes, they get free donuts, they get free passes, because my gosh, they put their lives on the line every single day to protect our freedoms from the Qaeda, from the Taliban and all these, you know, and Johnny Taliban. So we're not on the same level. In fact,
Well, and who in the discussion was carrying a weapon and wearing Kevlar? It sure wasn't me. So you do what I say at the point of a gun, or I knock the windows out of your wife's car and beat the living crap out of you. After that, we'll take you to the hospital. It turned into quite a fiasco, simply because I told him I wasn't driving as defined by the regulations. And then found you guys a little bit later, so I'm kind of new to the No State project, and I'm really glad that I ran. I thought it was just me, and so did everybody else. Everybody said, "You're crazy. You can't talk to those people like that."
oh, that's right, the hometown hero thing. I gotta remember. You gotta have the proper reference. That's right. If you go back into the people that were convicted of dancing at the Jefferson Memorial a few years ago, the actual justification for it was the movements that they were making wasn't showing the proper reverence. Again, wow, that would be like wounding somebody in a church.
That's the engine brake.
I mean, well, there I can see.
That's a normal brake, and that's the retarder.
Hey, yeah,
So essentially you have 3 brakes in this truck. Yeah, that uses the engine, and so does the retarder. There's the engine brake, and Jake brake's what they use in the American trucks. This is the retarder.
150 feet in Idaho, but that's good enough for their jurisdiction.
If you're an inch into Idaho, your
Yeah.
physical location means the laws apply. So for those listening to you, I don't want to let go of that. The big mistake, of course, what you now realize is to try to argue legal interpretation with a 5-year-old with a gun.
Right, yeah, bad plan, gotta tell you. Before you head off in that direction, get a hold of somebody that knows the things. Well, kind of like you do. I never even questioned for many, many years. Can you do this too? Obviously, they do it all day long. And nobody is even deluded in thinking that they're just doing it for the money. Of course they are. Everyone knows that. But we've been so trained.
Welcome back to the No State Project here on LRN.FM, the Liberty Radio Network. If you want to join me on the big show, you're being attacked, or you want by a bureaucrat, or you just want to learn how to defend yourself just in case the inevitable attack from one of the road pirates or one of these professional predators called politicians. Great, that's fantastic. We should be doing that. Learning how to defend against this garbage and exposing them for the criminals that they are is definitely a way we should do it. We should not wait until we are in the fight to start learning how to box. So someone who is involved in one of these is on. We're talking with Kirby Washington. He's got a couple of battles going on with psychopaths up in Washington, Idaho area. And let me ask you, Kirby, where in the proceeding? Let's take, we'll just deal with the one and the criminal one since that's the more. Well, there's a lot more at stake there. Where are you with that? I know you said it was going on since May. Have you had? Obviously, you've probably had an arraignment. Yes. Let us know how that went.
Well, they let me out of jail and took me upstairs in handcuffs, of course, so I felt very free to do whatever I thought was best for me, not. And so they said, well, since you know the charges, and of course I didn't know to say anything about show me that the Constitution and statutes apply, they gave me a court-appointed attorney, which I talked to twice and said, you are not my attorney, never have been and never will be, so he filed a motion to stop. And then after some advice from someone else, I sent all the paperwork back to the Assembly of Thieves to say that I was refusing it for cause, which they completely ignored, and issued a warrant for my arrest. So I tread fight me if I ever go back in that neck of the woods. Then, just a couple of, 6 months later, I had a similar incident that got started in Washington about the same kind of a thing, although they never wrote me a traffic citation. They just charged me with criminal charges.
Such as?
And then issued a warrant, and I went down to debate that with them, and of course they threw me in jail, so I spent a couple more days in jail.
What was the charge, though? What were they actually accusing you of? Criminal.
Well, they charged me with failure to cooperate with a police officer.
Contempt of cop.
Yeah, contempt of cop. And then, since I did that, I was obstructing, more contempt of cop. And then, since I had done that, they also stacked on their resisting arrest. And when I went to court and asked, mentioned that I didn't believe they had jurisdiction in this situation, they said, yeah, we found jurisdiction. And ran right over the top of me.
Because you made an affirmative statement that they could just say, if you pay me, instead of saying objection.
Well, I started with objection. I don't believe the state has jurisdiction over me, which again, now I understand is an affirmative statement.
Right.
So I didn't know to pose it as a question to the lady sitting at the desk alongside of me. And when I finally did that, hereafter, I've been back there a couple of times now, the thief in the big robe said, no, I'll answer that for her. Yeah, we have jurisdiction. It's written right on this piece of paper here.
Oh, wow.
And, so now I guess he's my lawyer.
Well, what we want to look at is that we make the objection, we don't make an affirmative statement, we just put the burden of proof on the prosecution where it belongs by asking what facts. So, what was on that piece of paper? Did you question him on what on this piece of paper seems to lead you to believe that you have jurisdiction over him?
Well, on one of the pieces of paper he had, it was marked in a box that probable cause had been found.
Okay.
And so that was no longer able to be debated. He said, all we're here for today is set a trial date, which comes up January 13th or something. And I noticed this media rep idea. I think that would be a great thing to have, but I don't know how many people are around this corner of Washington that are like-minded.
Well, you could just hand out summonses to neighbors, and they'd be forced to show up. So. Did you say January 13th?
No, February 13th, sorry.
I was going to say, you probably have another warrant there for your arrest.
Yeah, no, and I know they're not even shy about writing that piece of garbage out, but the cops all operate on them, whether it's written in all caps and, all that kind of jazz.
Yeah,
That's an argument you're not going to win.
It's an argument with no merit, and it's not an argument that they're making. So, there's, so, okay. Did you have any kind of pretrial procedures?
No, so far that was the gist of it. When I walked into court, I asked the prosecutor what she had as evidence to show her jurisdiction over. And then the judge said, well, we don't have to do that. I've already got a piece of paper here that's got the box marked probable cause has been found. We're just here to set a jury trial. Now, I suppose since they gave me two trial dates a week apart, one would be for the jury selection process, in which their paid jurors come down there to see if they want to go against the judge.
Someone brought up a very interesting point for challenging the jury, because the jurors are all supposed to be citizens of the United States. And so I think it'd be worth getting into. We don't have to do it now. We can get into some of the other issues as far as actually, defending, countering the garbage coming out of the prosecutor or judge's mouth, and the trash that's going to be spewing forth from these road pirates, the cops. But the idea that no one can prove that there are citizens, and that there are states, because it's all under threat, duress, and coercion, and that there's no duty to protect you. So the only thing making someone a citizen is a membership in a body politic with a duty of allegiance in return for a duty of protection. And we already know there is no duty to protect you. Legally, there is none. So the idea that you're a citizen falls completely flat. There's no proof of it. We've had a standing $5,000 challenge on the show. Thank you, Paul. For anyone who could actually prove that someone is a citizen, which they can't, because to do that you have to prove there's a body politic in the state, which is impossible to do. So what I would suggest doing is getting a Brady request in, because Brady requests are not just a pretrial tool. It is a continuing obligation on the prosecutor and persecutor to provide exculpatory evidence. It's supposed to be anything that could be considered even remotely material they have to give up. So that would be if the road pirates had any, let's say, incidences where they've been impeached as witnesses, where they've been shown not to be honest, where they have a history of lying and Brady comes. So I would suggest getting that in right away. I would also get in a motion to quash the trial date, as the judge took an opinion that probable cause.
That was some accident right there.
How the police came up with that, so I would file that.
I have seen the AI do that before, but I don't think I ever showed you the AI doing that video. That is kind of awesome.
We're up against the break, so just hold up. We got another segment we'll go through. Yes, the opinion of probable cause has been shown. It's just that opinion. Welcome back to the No State Project here on LRN.FM.
So 196 miles to go.
January 24th edition of the No State Project live from the Fortified Compound in Mesa, Arizona. We're talking with Kirby. Just as a reminder, there'll be a role-playing session after the show, so Kirby and whoever is interested can join.
I will say that this man's windscreen is so massive and gives you a real feeling of space, if you know what I mean. Just a space feeling.
Role-playing sessions to go over objections and to cut your teeth.
The mirrors, they are massive as well.
Something coming up, just keep, it doesn't hurt to be over prepared. You should do it on a regular basis, and because the very few of us in this life are going to get around an attack by one of the road pirates. It's just going to be your lucky day to be protected by one of America's finest hometown heroes, and all we can do is limit the damage to these predators that we're looking to do, and that's what we're covering here again on the No State Project. Kirby, got another segment here. Let's go through some of your some role playing when you're actually in there, and I want to point out that there are three basic things that they do to you. Most of it's all diversion anyway, to get away from answering a direct damn question, which you will find out. And anybody who's ever gone to court, they will do whatever they can, in or out of court, really, to avoid answering a direct damn question. Lawyers are some of the most difficult people to pin down to a yes or no. Regardless of how simplistic the question is, they will always find a reason if it makes them look bad or their profession. They'll always find something to just lather on about. And so what they're doing, three basic things that they do is they ignore you, they threaten you, and they will lie. And that's why we say to object often, because that's our way of calling foul with these people. They're like JT and I, we've seen one. All the guy does is sit up there and say anything else. It doesn't matter what you just presented, Kirby. Anything else. His mind is made up, and I've baited them. You said, what do I have to say to get you to take this seriously, you son of a, And
I almost said those very words and stopped short just like you did, and it didn't go well for me. And he said, well, because all you have to do is just understand that we have power. It's like, okay, I got guns at home too, I'm just not as willing to use them.
Yeah, and it's really, you walk a fine line because you do want to get out of there. And I've mentioned on the show before, I've done things that are considered crimes, very serious crimes, to get them to break their silence. Nothing. Those guys up in the Superior Court in Cheshire County, they could have, they get into some of the role play and the objections that you need to be going through. But before I want to address some of your main questions or concerns.
Well, some of my biggest things is that it seems that everything that needs to go into those people needs to be done in writing is what I'm starting to understand. Because simply speaking it, and if you don't put it in the form of a correct question, where these are the guys who say, well, I'm not going to get into a battle of semantics with you. And then that's all they do all day long. Is battle in semantics, unless you bring up a point that actually is real or valid. Now you're some kind of a nutcase because you want to battle with them with semantics, what they call words of art. And when we lower life forms who are not Bar Association members say anything, now we're just arguing semantics with them. And
well, that's a common dodge, though, and that's why you call foul by saying objection. I'm not arguing semantics. I'm asking for the facts.
And well, two of these police officers wrote in their report, their official report. I have copies of these. They wrote that I am actually, and this is a bad word to them, I'm a criminal because I'm a constitutionalist. And I said, I didn't say I'm a constitutionalist. Besides, I've got a copy of your oath of office that swears that you're going to go by the laws and the Constitution.
It does?
And they don't do that.
Where does it say that in the oath?
Well, for the district court judge, he says, let's see, his oath says, I affirm or swear that I am and I don't have it in front of me, so I can't read it to you exactly, that I am a citizen of the United States and will uphold the Constitution and the laws thereof. And then it says, I am a citizen of the state of, this was Washington, and will uphold the Constitution and the laws thereof. So help me God.
And not to get into some, well, we have to get into a little bit of semantics because that's the study of the meaning of words. Uphold does not necessarily mean.
Of course.
Yeah, it doesn't mean he's going to.
80 miles, 77 miles
He's
left.
just going to uphold them against you.
Right.
So
Yeah, that seems to be the case.
that's why they say to preserve the intent to defend the Constitution, not against themselves, but
Yeah, no.
against us. Well, this is the whole sales pitch. We can do whatever we want to you, Kirby, with impunity, because 200 some odd years ago, some rich white slave owners, okay, said, they wrote it down, and it said that we can do this 200 some odd years later.
Well, it seems to me that what they were writing there wasn't about you and me, because it starts out with we the people, which I wasn't one of those people, but if I were, then we would be the ones that slowed that law, and it was to restrain them. But now they...
Yeah, I'm glad this video's been going on now for about 35 minutes, so it should only be about 5 minutes left, but definitely, because it's 35 minutes long, or 40 minutes long, it's going to take a bit longer to upload, but hopefully it shouldn't be too bad.
Poor people fighting on one front in the east. They had their other army that conscripted that were annihilating the native population. So it was always smoke and mirror. But they need anyway. So when you're actually in the court and they do something like that, make sure the first things you say is objection. Call them.
You know, I'd like to admit something right now, that my the amount of videos I put out in December was pretty ridiculous. As in, 1 week there would be 2 videos, and then the next week there would just be no videos, no videos, no videos, and then video, and then video, and then no videos. Yeah, it was a pretty inconsistent schedule of the video, and I seriously apologise for that, because partly that was my fault myself. I never really took any opportunities to find a chance to record the videos that I needed to get a decent amount out in December, like 4 or 8, when it ended up being only 6 or 7, and videos not coming out when they should be doing. I seriously apologise for that. I really should have taken more responsibility. That's why I'm getting up now early on Saturday morning or Sunday morning to record one of these videos, and at least have one video come out, because at least then you have some satisfaction that you're going to get at least one video in a week, on a Monday or whenever the hell I can be bothered to schedule it. You can have that satisfaction that you're going to get it. Whilst back in December and late November, I just could not do anything, and it was partly down to when I had October, the week off in October, to record various videos. I only got a couple recorded, as it never went to plan when I wanted to record. There was always something that come up. And then when it came to the Christmas one, for the first week pretty much, I recorded one thing that had no commentary in it, just the radio. And I had a seriously bad cold for that. And if I had not had that, I would have had a ton of more videos recorded. Yes, I got a decent amount recorded in the second week, I wasn't ill. Still, I didn't really get what I wanted, and it just sucks ultimately. It's just like, I really just got so annoyed with it. It was getting to a point where it was like, I don't think I'm ever going to get something done like this again, because I'll either be ill or something will come up, or I won't be able to do it. So it's been tough. There's no doubt about that. It's been tough lately trying to get videos out. In the past like 4 weeks to 2 months, and streaming as well, trying to get consistency back on after several weeks of being off, or being off streaming, or not streaming at all, or streaming not properly, or anything like that. It is so hard to find now the consistency of time to sort of get back into a consistent state where I can guarantee viewers are going to come back. Because at the moment I'm just not consistent at all. I just cannot get any viewers back at all. I'm just not consistent enough. So I need to become more consistent, as well as try and vary the games that I stream a bit. More than just this game, but try and find a game that's enjoyable to stream, if you know what I mean. So yeah. I do apologise seriously about that, but there wasn't a lot I could do at the time, really. But you know, that's life, I suppose.
The only signature, as far as I understand, that's on it, because I haven't seen the original, is George Washington's, and he signed as a witness thereof, not as a petitioner of it. And if I can tell you,
Yes, man does have very decent acceleration. Yeah. This is. I've got 5% damage. This is a 25 ton load with a 680 horsepower engine. The acceleration is actually quite decent, really.
I didn't sign no damn contract to obey your rules. The only reason I don't rape, pillage, and plunder anymore is I decided, you know, I don't want to be that kind of a man. I want to be the kind of guy who gives a shit about his neighbors and takes care of things I'm supposed to take care of.
Yeah, don't worry about the swearing. Shit isn't that bad of a swear word, but yeah, some of you wonder probably why I don't swear on videos. It's only because I don't get that much rage. As far as I can see, swearing is like something to get rage out, or just not bother, and I don't really have a lot of that. I wouldn't say it's something to get your feelings out. I'd say it's sort of a rage thing at the end of the day, getting angry. Well, you know, the only time I'd really use swearing is to describe it on my side too. The way it's optimized is complete and utter shit, and it's literally fucked in the head. But that's the only sense I've really used swearing in now. Because other games that I play don't really end up swearing. Unless I was playing Homicide 2 and describing the graphics engine and the way it's not optimized well, now the system's just broken and it's utterly a clusterfuck, whatever. But you know, apart from that, I wouldn't really swear that much anymore, because don't really have much need to, and don't really see much point in it. If I'm not rage, what's the point of swearing? What's the point of just saying the F word or the C word or all that shit? So whatever. And you know, just to do that, I really don't see much point if you're not like raged up or whatever.
is you can't. She still, to this day, keeps trying to defend them because, oh, well, they're not doing, you know, there's got to be some guys are good. I'm like, if they are, there's goddamn few of them.
Yeah, and they eat their own when they do whistle. Like, well, of course.
And here we are, finally at the destination in grass.
They called her Serpico. She was a deputy down in Texas 30 years ago, and she found some of the cops were bringing these prostitutes in and feeding them heroin to keep them well, and got free pussy out of the deal.
Oh, hello.
Yep. Oh, or we're not on.
We're not, but we usually keep the author comments.
okay, yeah.
We usually keep them in the podcast. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll not be throwing that stuff out. But there was some stuff going on, and she gave all her notes to the duty sergeant.
Welcome back to the No Stick Project, Hour 2, January 24th edition. If you want to join me, it's 218-632-9399. 218-632-9399. Also on Skype at Frank Rizzo 3. And we're talking with Kirby in Washington, talking about the psychopath searches, what you can expect. I would imagine, too, if you've got one that is just ignoring everything and it's even, you know, I would just walk up.
So I hope you enjoyed that video. Do make sure to comment, like and subscribe. All them good things. Well, for now, thanks so much for watching.
You know, I'm sure they
I'll see you next time.
enough at that point to
Excuse me.